But again, that goes back into like the whole being so authentic to yourself. Like, I don't have to be that way.
Right.
I don't have to, because I'm giving power to my situations.
Yeah.
My experiences. The things that have happened to me. I'm giving power to those. I got this quote, one of my favorite quotes is written on my mirror. My bathroom. I'm not what has happened to me. I'm who I choose to become. And
right.
Excuse me, that has played a role into like me knowing being my authentic self. Like, I'm not going to let what has happened to me dictate who I am. You know, I'm going to set this tone. Mm-hmm. But a part of me setting this tone is accepting those things that have happened to me. You know, and I think that when you talk about being your authentic self, being authentic is for you. It ain't for nobody else.
She teaching.
That's for you.
God. Yeah.
It ain't for no people. Other people can benefit from it.
Right. But it's for you.
But it's for you.
Right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is Drew Muzan. Thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, get this out to all your friends. Today is, like I say, every single episode is another special episode. I got another special guest with me. My good sis is like, that's what y'all say, right? My good sis. Y'all say my good sis. Good sis, Kristin. You know, she's one of the most authentic and real people that I've ever met, and everybody regurgitates that same statement whenever they say anything about her. It's like, she's so real, she's so authentic. And on season 2, we're shooting season 2, so on season 2 I really wanted to get her in the building and talk about like, yo, why you so real? Like, what took you to get this far? You know what I'm saying? So Kristin in the building. What's good with you? How you doing?
What's good, man? You know, I'm holding on, hanging in there. Yeah, one day at a time.
Good, you know what I'm saying? The hair popping.
Look, don't get me hyped up now. But you know, the hair stay popping.
The hair stay popping?
The hair stay popping.
Okay.
All day. But I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I feel so fancy.
Feel so fancy with the couch.
You finally
get the couch. You know, I'm gonna get this couch like in the studio one day and get it on the chain.
All the greats done sat in this couch. You know what I'm saying?
No
With Drew Muzan couch.
Man.
You know, I can name some names, but we'll just say I ain't gonna drop the names. But all the greats just sat on this couch. So you know, I'm happy to add my name to that list.
We here. So just it's the first time you've been on any of my content. So give the people a little bit about yourself. Tell people who Kristin is. She's like, oh, that's a long list.
It's always an interesting question because I'm like, what do I say? Like,
I'm the realest man.
Right, like, hi, I need the Jeezy drop. Like, if you messed up already because you ain't got the Jeezy drop like the DJ had. Like,
see, I
needed the drop as soon as he came in.
See, I don't got the speakers yet. I don't got the speakers yet to be able to like just like a Joe Budden thing and just like, I'm the realest nigga in here.
See, that's what I need. That's what I need. No, I never know. Like, I'm Kristin. My favorite color orange.
She's not this shy in real life, y'all. Like, don't. She's not this shy in real life.
I'm not shy. I just never know how to answer that question. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess I would say, yeah, I'm Kristin. I'm a graduate of the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
You had to get the agricultural out.
I had to give it the government name. You know what I'm saying? Emphasis on that. I don't know.
That's it?
That's it? No, so I guess I'll explain my work, what I do, because I'm not like a creative necessarily or anything like that.
She a prophetess.
Oh, what? Oh, wow.
She a prophetess, y'all.
He lying. Don't believe that. He lying.
Get your word from her. I'm joking.
Whatever. I'm a case manager. I work at this place called Kristin Services, where we pretty much house homeless pregnant women. Those are the ones I work with personally. We house at-risk youth in foster care on DSS custody. And then we also house teenage moms who are in foster care and their child. So we are a service for women, run by women. Yeah. Okay, all women.
Wow, that's dope.
All women. We have two, the kitchen guy and the maintenance man. They're like the only two guys there. But yes, it's pretty much all women. So And we just kind of help them navigate. My clients are the ones that are pregnant. They stay with us up until they deliver, and then we send them on their way.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
That's impactful work.
Yes, I love it. This is my first time working in a homeless population. And so before I was working in a psychiatric residential treatment facility with children. Loved that too, but was really tired of getting my ass whooped by them kids and whooping their ass.
You were giving whoopings to kids?
No, you can't whoop no child that's swinging on you. You got to swing back.
Y'all know where she work at now. So she done told y'all. She done told y'all where she work at.
It's a different scene now. So this is my first time working with homeless people. But I love it. It's very impactful, but it's heavy sometimes. A lot of times it's heavy.
I can feel that.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, my favorite color orange.
That's it. Favorite color orange. Okay.
I'm single.
See, she trying to get a man on Walk with Drew. I don't got the dating site set up, so you know what I'm saying. I don't got the dating site set up yet, so she trying to get. No, you know what I'm saying.
You could edit that part out. We ain't got.
You gonna put. I'm gonna put your whole profile in there. I'm gonna put a little picture. I'm put a little picture. I'm gonna put your little Tinder profile because I'm a graphic designer. I'm gonna put a little Tinder profile with that. Kristin.
Don't do that.
30. And you know what I'm saying, a little photo, you know, single, you know what I'm saying? Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, holla at her. But so like you guys can see from the title, we're gonna be just talking about authenticity and just like realness. And like with you, I wanted to ask you, what was like, so I wanted us to talk about like being your authentic and real self. So if you could kind of take me back to where that kind of started for you.
Surprisingly, you would think that it was something that like I just was this way my whole life, right? Yeah. I wasn't. Now, I've never been shy.
Okay.
Never been shy. But, excuse me, I've never been outspoken either. I've never been outspoken. And I could truly say that I've probably been this outspoken in the last 2 years, maybe. It's been the last 2 years. So I think that, you know, growing up in my household, we didn't talk.
Yeah.
We did not talk. You know, my mom, who's a great mom, just was not an emotional person.
Right.
You know, you saw strong mama.
Strong mom.
You didn't see too much of anything else. Right. And, you know, I respect it now, of course, but like I said, we didn't talk. And that just was kind of the thing our entire life. Even so much so, like I lost my dad at 19.
Are you only child?
No, I have 3 older sisters.
3 older sisters? Okay.
Yeah. So me and my sisters, we talk amongst ourselves, but that wasn't until we got a little bit older.
Right.
And I think, like, I can't speak for them, but for me, talking was just uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable.
Why was it uncomfortable?
Because
niggas
didn't talk about the feelings. We didn't talk about that kind of stuff in our house.
Hard.
Yeah, it was like you suck it up and you deal with stuff. Right. And that's just what it was. And so somebody sitting up there asking me, are you sad? No. I'm good. It'd be hurt as hell too. But we just didn't talk. Yeah. And that's what I said, I lost my dad at 19. It was never a conversation around that.
Really?
Ever.
No.
Again, me and my sisters, we might have talked from time to time, but actually, you know, sitting down, processing, and actually talking about the death, because it was a very tragic death as well. Right. We didn't talk. We didn't talk about it. And honestly, so now that I think about it, to this day, I think we still haven't talked about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think more so processing is for adults, really, so it's surprising. You know, and it should be common for like children too. But yeah, I think processing as adults is something that we do common now because it's just like, why am I like this? What happened?
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, processing is our favorite word now too.
Right. Right. It's like I gotta process this. It's our favorite
word. Like I need to process. We should process this. Let's. I had a professor that say, "Let's unpack this." That was our favorite word. So that's you know we love that word processing. But I agree. I think it is more so for adults, but we just didn't do it. Man. It wasn't something that was, you know, normal to us. Even now, like my mom, she'll call. She might, you know, tell us some bad news, and she'll say, "You okay?" And I'm so used to just being like,
I'll be all right. Yeah, and just put it away.
Yeah. So that was kind of that was what I learned growing up. Like, you just don't talk. How you feel about things, you just don't say nothing. Right. And then, of course, the older I got, in friendships, sometimes you kind of run into those friends that...
pull it out of you.
No.
Oh.
They do the complete opposite. You know, you ever run into those friends that you might say, you know, hey, I kind of felt some type of way when you said XYZ. And then, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Shut up.
She's like, what you got going on?
But you kind of run into those friends that once you tell them, like, yo, you kind of made me feel some type of way, they literally switch it. And then try to make you feel bad for even assuming that they would even make you feel something. You know, and then they become the victim. And then it's, I can't believe you said, or, you know, when niggas get mad because you actually saying something, that'll make you say, you know what? I ain't even going to say nothing.
Yeah.
And I ran into a lot of those people.
So years of bad friendships.
Well, I don't care if they see this. Years of bad friendships. You know what I'm saying? It is.
Instead of saying names, you like years of bad friendships.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
But in relationships too. You know, you run across them raggedy niggas that get mad at you for crying. I've caught myself apologizing for crying.
What? It's because neither side is used to like communicating, so just like they're
Have
not
you
used
ever
to
seen Twilight?
I had like 10 years ago.
Oh my God! It was this scene where Bella would literally like cut. Well, no, she started bleeding. She was with Jacob, and she was apologizing.
He didn't show no emotion, right?
Well, Jacob was like, "You're apologizing for bleeding." Like, she literally had been so used to being around these vampires, and bleeding around them was such a terrible thing. She started to apologize, and it became normal. So when she was around somebody else, then he's like, why are you apologizing for bleeding? Like, it's normal to bleed. Yeah. So that's, I say that to say, like, I've caught myself literally in dealing with people like, I'm so sorry I'm crying. Yeah. And the niggas literally be like, why are you apologizing for crying? Like, that's so normal. But I've been in so many toxic relationships where I have to apologize for crying because, you know, they literally make you feel bad for that. So years of relationships like that as well. Yeah. People know how to suppress your voice. And
you getting into it deep. I was about to pull something out of that Twilight joint. I'm like, oh, apologizing for bleeding. Oh, you shouldn't apologize for bleeding. You shouldn't apologize. I was going to pull something out of there. You ain't sitting on that long though, but it's okay. I was going to pull something out of there. You good though, because you know me, I'm going to find something. I'm going to find a gem to pull out of there, but yeah.
No, but people have ways of suppressing your voice, and you don't even realize it sometimes until you are literally sitting in a room knowing everything you want to say, chest burning because you can't say it, and you're just sitting there like, why am I so afraid to speak my mind? And so in 2019, was it 2019? Yeah, because that year was trash. I lost my job. And it's crazy because, you know, of course we could get into the technical stuff of this is what you did, what ultimately led to losing your job. But when, you know, when I sat down and processed how I had even got to that point of why I was making the decisions that I was making, it literally boiled down to like, I made so many choices not to speak up. I made so many choices not to speak up. And that led me to just following poor leadership. Right. Too afraid to question why we doing things the way we doing. Why this don't make no sense. I don't think we should be doing this. Right. You know, and so I chose to follow poor leadership opposed to speaking up. Yeah. And following that poor leadership, my ass got fired. And I lost my job. Yeah. For 4 months. And nigga, I got rent to pay. Yeah. Okay. Like, and it was that moment that was my game changer of like, if you don't open up your mouth, because look where not opening up your mouth got you. Yeah. In such a rough, very rough space. Right. It was from that moment on, I was like, oh, nah, niggas gonna hear what I got to say. Yeah. They gonna hear what I got to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like going back, I wanted to talk about too, like when you were saying, like I did a video, I want to say 6, 7, 8 months ago about effective communication with somebody. And one of the things that we were talking about is the fact that people a lot of times aren't able to say how they feel because they didn't grow up in households where they were able to share how they feel, or their parents didn't share how they feel. A lot of times we didn't grow up with parents that were friends. We grew up with parents that were just parents and that was it. Or you just had the, strong, independent, single, you know what I'm saying? And they're trying to feed you and they're not able to to be that emotional space for you. So you grow up with that, especially me, like without a father. And it's just like, it's hard for you to say certain things. And for me, I think the gift has always been in my vulnerability or whatever, just with like the wrong people. And I think the moment for me leading up to speaking more was just like getting my power back. Like, and this is just like literally like not even, I want to say a couple months ago, like literally a month or so ago, just like, because a lot of times in my being vulnerable and not speaking up, I'm letting people have power, unnecessary power. Absolutely. And I realized, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm taking my power back. Like we're not going to do this anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, because there is so much power in what you speak. Mm-hmm. I don't know that Bible the way you do, but it's somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. And
we all the same. We all saved. We all righteous. Yep. We all holy. She as holy as I am.
Power in the tongue or something like that.
Yeah.
That I can't.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
I can't quote you.
Death and life from the power of the tongue.
There you go. Okay. Ask Drew for the
no,
the right
she holy
one,
just as I am holy. She righteous as I am righteous. That's another conversation. But yeah. Continue.
Anyway, but that in itself just goes to show, like, if you're not speaking, you're allowing someone else to have that type of power. Your power. Mm-hmm. No. Like I just, that just, I'm trying to like download and get it out. But you're exactly right. Yeah. Like you are literally giving someone else your power when you choose to not speak.
Right.
Especially if it's something that you believe in and that you stand for. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I mean by like literally people know how to suppress your voice. Mm-hmm. That's what that looks like. And then, like you said, it goes into the communication thing too, because like any other thing, I think communication is taught and learned.
It's learned.
Someone has to teach you how to communicate. I had a friend that sat me down and was like, all right, look, you know what type of friendships you've been in, but my friends don't get on the internet and post subliminally about me. We talk. Ooh. And I was like, dang, this nigga checking me and shit. Like, yeah. I had to learn how to communicate. Yeah. Still learning.
I think it's like conversation for me. Like that's the only thing I think that's really like the root of why I hadn't always been speaking up is because I don't like confrontation. I didn't grow up. I'm a only child in a single parent household. So I didn't grow up arguing or, you know what I'm saying? Like my mother had like 5 brothers and sisters. So she's used to communicating with people and going back and forth and 5 minutes later being good. Nah, you piss me off. I got to go in the corner. I forget you for a little bit. I got to go sit in the corner because it's like I got to process that because I'm not used to constantly like going back and forth and 5 minutes later, are you hungry or you good or whatever? And I always told myself, I'm like, man, once I get in a relationship, I'm like, what's that going to be like addressing like confrontational situations? But I'm like, all of these, like the last 2 months, it's been nothing but dealing with confrontational situations and having these hard conversations, and that anxiety hit the pit of your stomach, and you like, dang, about to have this conversation. Forget it. I'm just going ahead and just say what I gotta say and just have it. You know what I'm saying? And don't really worry about the outcome. So I think for me, it's always just been like I've been afraid of confrontation.
Well, see, I think. Excuse me, I have got to get this thing together, child. Listen, I got to get this thing together. But I feel like a lot of people think that confrontation is a requirement with communication. And it's not. It's not. I have a friend, we have the most difficult conversations you could ever think of. Like, ever. I've never raised my voice to him. He's never raised his voice to me. When we get angry, it's not a requirement. Like everything does not require confrontation. I don't care if I sit here and be like, Your glasses is mad ugly. Mm-hmm. You mad? Okay, but that doesn't require confrontation.
Right. It doesn't
you can
require
say,
yelling your
you know
voice.
what I'm saying? It's like people just assume, a lot of times people assume that when I speak up or speak against something, I gotta deal, it's gotta be problematic.
Right.
But also too, a lot of other people, that's because sometimes the people that you're dealing with
Aren't good communicators.
toes get stepped on real easily.
Right.
But confrontation is about perspective. Mm-hmm. You know, if you can step outside of yourself to see someone else's perspective, because communication ain't got shit to do with talking. It's got everything to do with listening.
And how you say things, I think.
Yes, it's the delivery, which has always been my problem.
She like, fuck you.
It's always been my problem.
I
I be like, yo, you stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's always been my problem. But I think that once you get past the idea that confrontation is a requirement of communication, you learn to communicate easily.
So do you believe that there's such thing as, one thing my therapist told me was like, there's healthy side to confrontation. Like confrontation can be healthy at times.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I need to be able to look at you sometimes and just be like, I hate your guts and I just want to knock your damn head off your shoulders. Like,
that ain't what I'm talking about.
I can't stand you so bad. But at the same time, what
that
you talking about?
Healthy confrontation.
That's healthy confrontation. I guess calmly.
For the that's not just because you say it calmly don't mean it's healthy. What I mean by healthy is like it's like the betterment of the situation. So like if there's a crossroads in a relationship or a talking situation with a certain young lady or certain man for you or whatever, you being able to have conversation about how you feel and how they feel and come to a point, a middle ground or whatever, and move forward, that's a healthy situation. So sometimes, a lot of times, conversation is like, forget you ain't shit, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? That's not healthy confrontation. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wanted to talk also too. I had a thought. What was the after effect? Like after you made that decision to just like be real, how did that start to affect your friendships and your relationships? Like the day after, when you started to just be real, like how did that affect everything?
It
take your time. You can take your time.
It changed a lot because when you start to speak up for yourself, you're setting the tone.
Yeah,
those are your boundaries.
Right,
you're establishing your boundaries. These are the boundaries that I got. People don't like boundaries. Yeah. In any capacity. Yeah. Religion. Yeah. We don't like to be bound. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. All right. Teacher.
Institutions. Any type of institution. We don't like to be bound. Mm-hmm. You know, people don't like to be bound in their personal lives either. Yeah. People don't like boundaries. I don't want to be told what I can and can't do. Mm-hmm. But this is my life. Yeah. And I got boundaries. Yeah. And I tell you how you gonna treat me. Mm. And people don't like that. Yeah. And so things shift. And you start to see that who's willing to endure. Yeah. Yeah. And who's as real. Really deal with those boundaries and really be respectful of those boundaries. Mm-hmm. So my friendship groups shifted. Mm. A lot of my coworkers that I had at that job, I thought those were like some of my forever friends. Yeah. You know, those are the people that I talked to the most. I spent the most time with. You know, I told you before this, like, you know, I was working 40 regular hours, 30 overtime hours. I was always at that place. Ma'am. I'm good. Listen, when you want that bag, man, good.
You do whatever for it.
You work them hours.
Not me. Shoot.
But I spent the most time with them. I talked to them the most. Mm-hmm. You know, I confided in them and things like that. So I never thought that, okay, once I start to shift some things, that they would kind of disappear. Some of those people who I haven't seen them since then. Mm-hmm. Some of those people I haven't spoken to in a year. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, I'm still Instagram friends with them, talk to them here and there. But then also too, it's not just it's not necessarily just them. Like I can't even sit here and put it on them and say that they disappeared. I disappeared.
Right.
Because then I started to notice, y'all just ain't my crowd.
Right.
And then when I try to dabble in that a little bit, it's kind of like, I ain't really fucking with this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really like this. And so I kind of fell back too. I definitely fell back. And especially in like relationships, when a man got control over you and then you speak up.
It don't go well.
Man. Niggas don't know who you are anymore. They don't know who you are anymore.
Different person.
Yeah. And then you see, because now you have a new lens. And you see how a man will try his hardest to keep that control. And then at that point, you just realize that this ain't it.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't it.
I think I had like there's 2 points in my life where I realized something about myself, and then like my friend group started to change. I think it was when I graduated college in 2015. I graduated and I had a certain friend group. We're all still cool or whatever. I ain't got no animosity against anybody or whatever. But I felt more. I was just talking about this last night. I felt more so as my friend's roommate around in the group instead of a part of that group or whatever. And to this day, they're still close or whatever. And I'm over here. We're all still cool. You know what I'm saying? Go network and chill, go watch the game or whatever. But I felt like I was my friend's roommate in that circle and not one of the guys or whatever. Actually in that circle.
Yeah.
And I stayed in that circle my entire college career or whatever, because I went to all the parties. I got drunk a bunch of times. I knew everybody or whatever. So I sacrificed being my full, authentic, my real self because I wanted to make friends. I didn't want to be sitting at the caf by myself or whatever like that. And then once I graduated, I'm like, who the heck is this dude? I'm like, who the heck am I? You know what I'm saying? And I realized, I'm like, bruh, I wouldn't, if I would have been this person my entire life, I would have cut them off junior year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I would have cut them off as soon as I had a traumatic moment in my junior year, beginning of my junior year, where my blood alcohol level was 3 times legal limit. I was in the hospital. I got super drunk.
Damn, nigga.
Yeah. It's everybody, and then everybody's surprised, like, you, Drew? Yeah. So, and then how my friend group handled that, I should have cut everybody off then, but I didn't, because I didn't want to lose that or whatever. But I should have. I would have been sitting in the room by myself the whole time, and I should have, because I would have been that real person. But then it's just like it happened 2 years later after we graduated, and then another shift kind of happened in 2016 for me when I really started to take my relationship with God like serious. And I was kind of religious then too, so I look back on it, I'm like, bro, you was kind of religious, but I kind of started taking that relationship with God serious. And friends drew the line in the sand. It's like, oh no, you going this route, I'm going this route, you know, kind of chastising, you know, me a little bit. And that caused a separation. But I was being, you know what I'm saying, I was shifting, trying to become more of my authentic self. And then even now, it's still going through a constant transformation now, because now I'm free. I'm not religious. I'm free. I'm free as I've ever been in my life. So now I know that's going to continue to have more repercussions, because more people are probably going to get cut off and distance themselves because of that. So I definitely resonate with a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, and two, I think it's a necessary part of the process. Yeah. You cannot stay the same and keep the same group of people around you if they're willing to stay the same. Yeah. If they are not willing to change, then again, it's just a necessary part of the process. I have great friend groups, but I resonate with what you said. It's crazy because you know how with a lot of people, they have groups, like they are a part of that group of friends. I have no groups that like none of my friends know each other. Yeah, and I'm friends with this person. I'm friends with that. I love it.
I hate that because I want something like the Wood. I was just watching the Wood. Yes, I want something like the Wood. I love it. But see, I have that. Like I have this group of friends where it's like 4 of us in that little group, but we're all friends. And then I have like that little group over there. We're all friends. I have that group over there. But like when I have like a birthday dinner, don't nobody know nobody. No, nobody know. And I love it. Because first of all, y'all hoes ain't finna talk about me. Okay. Let's start there. Y'all ain't finna be sitting around talking about me. Somebody talking about somebody. Man, ain't nobody talking about you, man.
man.
Yeah.
Nah.
But I feel that though.
No, but I say I love it more so not necessarily because of like me. I'm not actually worried about my friends talking about me,
Right.
but because it literally shows me I stand on my own. Like I stand on my own, and I'm proud of it because before I wanted validation from other people.
Right.
I wanted to be in those friend groups. I didn't want to be the one that stood out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was willing to sacrifice who I was.
Yeah.
Well, to start, I really didn't know who I was.
Didn't know. That's the thing.
You know, and so, well, how old am I now? 30, about to be 31 in a couple weeks.
Except like you young.
Childless, and my back say different.
I had a joke. See,
My
it's
back
not
say
appropriate for a walk with Drew. It's not appropriate for walk with Drew.
We not even about this. We not even about to state the obvious. We don't have to say the obvious. And I wore stripes today. That didn't help. But
I'm just smile at the camera. I'm just
my knees say differently too. But you made me lose my train of thought.
I forget what you were saying. No, you're talking
not
about
knowing
changing
who I was and things like that. So, you know, even now at 30, like, I know who I am fully. I know who I am. And I'm aware of who I want to grow into even more. You know what I'm saying? And so, because of that, I'm able to stand on my own. I'm able to be around different types of people.
Yeah.
You're going to get the same Kristin every single time.
And that's a proud moment too.
And it wasn't like that before. You know, when you trying to fit in with this group of people, you fit in with that group of people. I ain't no damn chameleon.
Yeah.
I don't shift and adapt depending on the color that I landed on. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't me. I can't do it. You'll kill yourself trying to do it. You will literally run yourself raggedy, trying to play and create all these different faces. Because that's what we love to do too. We love to create these characters, especially on this.
Yeah.
Ooh, we like to create the characters on that. And I don't have it. I don't have the energy for it. I don't want to do it. And then when you sitting in your room, getting
my points. Well, I had a point. Yeah, go ahead.
You sitting in your room, and then your damn walls start telling you who you are.
Right.
And we all know we can't listen to them.
Right.
But I have no problem literally standing alone. Because I know who I am.
And you're comfortable with that. It's still taking me a long time to get comfortable. That's part of being an only child. I don't like being by myself. So when you become...
You're the only human being on this earth that I know that is an only child and does not like to be by yourself.
I don't like to be by myself at all. And I remember 2016. I remember when I was just telling you that moment, I was like, man, I'm going to lose some friends. I literally remember crying one night, like up crying. Because I'm like, bro, like, I'm going to be by myself. Like, and have to rebuild that friend group again. This is not the original friend group from college, but this is like the after college friend group in Charlotte or whatever. And it's just like, I'm gonna have to rebuild that friend group. I remember literally crying. I'm like, bro, like I'm about to be by myself. Like, and I still struggle with that to this day because I'm like, I want friends, I want community, and I feel like that's because I have a community gift. I think that's the reason why, you know, I crave community so much and why I don't like being by myself. But yeah, I literally remember that, and it's just like, it's hard. Like, it's a struggle trying, you know, getting used to being by yourself. So did you like struggle with that at first, or you just always been 10 toes, like being able to stand by yourself? No,
I grew up with 3 sisters, and we are thick as thieves, like, and always have been. I did not struggle to be by myself. Now I prefer to be by myself. I be in my little 1-bedroom Listen, child, when I tell you I was quarantined for a couple of days waiting on my little COVID results and stuff. Loved it. Can't nobody come in, I can't go out. Like, for days.
Can't do
loved it. I absolutely loved it. It get like.
So why do you like being alone?
Cause I like me. Nigga, you ever talk to me?
That's what I love. That's why she on the show. That's why she on the show. This is exactly why. Exactly why. This is why, because this is bubbly. Yeah, I love it.
I do. I can do whatever I want. I can watch whatever I want to watch. And I like watching like stupid stuff. Like I might go from wanting to watch like a action-packed movie to I'm trying to watch a Disney movie to a chick flick. Like I can do whatever I want to do.
So it's because you felt restricted in the past? Is the reason why you love being by yourself so much?
No, I just really like.
I can't get with y'all, man. I mean, take me out. You a homebody? You can say you're a homebody?
Yes, definitely. If I ain't got to leave the house, that's all right with me.
Nah, fam, we gotta go.
No, I just really like me. And then too, I think that what I've learned, the more that I've come into myself, the more that I have set my own standards, my own boundaries, I've learned what my morals are, what my values are, that I have grown into and learned. You start to realize that people are stupid. People are stupid. And people, it's like, I like to have conversation, but I am not the type of person that's about to be sitting down talking about, what's your favorite food? Nigga, food, I don't care. It don't matter. If it tastes good, I'm going to eat it. Like, I don't want to have those type of conversations. I want to have thought-provoking conversations. I want to, remember when we did that little conversations joint with Kanan?
Yeah.
And I think we were talking, I don't know if it was part 1 or part 2, but he was talking about, like, levels of conversation, like when you start, like, and I sucked at that. Like all the questions he's asking, I'm like, level 1, I'm trying to figure out your childhood trauma. Like, how can we unpack this?
I think it depends on like comfortability. Like that's always been the thing for me. Like if I'm like my one of my best friends, you might have seen her on my content or whatever. Me and her, we met via online off of Instagram. She DM'd me. We met online, and like within like 2-3 days, we were up at 4:00 in the morning just talking on FaceTime. So it depends. I think it's like some things are like divine, but I also think like it's just depends on comfortability. So I don't think like child if you start telling me your childhood trauma and we just start talking, we just talking about it, and it don't matter. I don't think it needs to be like, oh, we about to get married like in a month, so I need to know how much debt you got.
But like, a lot of people aren't comfortable having those conversations. A lot of people, like, it's this nigga. I've been probably texting this nigga for 3 weeks. I don't know shit about this man, nothing. And I'm sitting up here like, why are you even still entertaining? Come on, board. Because when I get bored, that's what I want to talk to him. But like I'm not interested in that. But that comes with people just in general. Like I want to know you. Right. Why are you like this? Who your mom and them? Why did you? Who your mom and them? Why? Why are you like this? Why do you believe the things that you believe? Right. What do you believe? Where's your mind? Where's your mental? How far are you willing to expand that? How do you dialogue? That's the type of stuff that I want to have. A lot of people don't want to have those type of conversations. So therefore I will sit on my couch and have them alone if I need to. Yeah. And then too, like you said, as far as
you said that, like, you don't even talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I know somebody else like that with too.
But I mean, and then it sounds kind of harsh. I don't care, but
it's facts.
Like I said, people are stupid.
Yeah, people. I mean, I don't necessarily stupid. I think with them.
Stupid.
Stupid, but I think sometimes with people, like especially in dialogue, I'm shooting a relationship content tomorrow. It's funny, like when you get to know people or whatever. A lot of times, people, I have this idea. I put it on Instagram about the whole power struggle thing. So I feel like sometimes people think that they give away their power by engaging too much. So in order to keep the power level even, they don't tell you everything.
I think
or
that's
tell you
completely
something.
opposite.
Really,
I gain my power. Because if I tell you, what you gonna hold it over me? It already happened. Okay, like if I sit here and I tell you something traumatic that happened to me or something that I had went through, I'm telling you from a place of victory.
Right.
I
don't think it's to use it against you. I think it's so more so as a wall. A lot of people have emotional walls or whatever.
They do.
Yeah, so
they do.
You take a brick down. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm getting to that place of just like, all right, I'm just telling you how it is, just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with, having layers or anything like that. But because you can't have layers. But okay, so it's the difference between transparency and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Transparency, because people, they're so intertwined that we use them in interchangeable.
Yeah.
But transparency is how much.
Yeah.
You know, if you are editing a graphic and you put words on top of that graphic, you can choose how transparent you want that graphic to be.
Okay, preach to me.
Right? Transparency is how much.
Right.
Vulnerability is the why and the emotions behind what it is that you're feeling.
And I think transparency leads to the vulnerability. Yeah.
And so in conversation with people, I can be 100% transparent. That doesn't require me to be vulnerable, though. It does not require me to be vulnerable. I can tell you, I can sit here right now and I can tell everybody that's going to watch this video everything that has happened to my life. I don't have to tell you why. I don't have to tell you how it made me feel. God. You know, I don't have to explain how those events connect to who I am.
Right.
That's where the vulnerability comes in. So I can understand, for me, layers, when we, you know, I like to say I peel back layers. The more I get to know certain people, that's me exposing my vulnerability. I'm always 100% transparent.
Yeah, go unpack that. You said you could be transparent and not be wrong. Yeah, unpack that for me. Please teach me. Please teach us, because I don't think I struggle with that. I think like I said, I think I've been not victim, but using them interchangeably. But where you just put that, just like, I could be transparent with you. I don't got to be vulnerable with you. I don't got to tell you why. I can say, oh, this happened, but I don't got to.
Yeah.
But see, one don't go without the other for me sometimes. With certain people, like if I tell you, okay, yeah, I got drunk my junior year. That's easy for me to share. I've been healed from that experience, like doing that or whatever, and the embarrassment and the shame from doing that. When I tell people I've been healed from that, but like oh, why or what happened that night or how did that happen or whatever. It's easy for me to just put those two together. I can't just sometimes, because I think it's the journalist in me too. Like I'll be wanting clarity or whatever. So if you tell me something, like, why? It go hand in hand. Like, I'm not going to let you, if you tell me something, I'm going to be like, so how you feel about that? Like, it's just the journalist in me.
But that's also too, you seen that Google joint that they just dropped with the
I seen half of it.
That was like, it was centered around, I can't
like asking why stuff
like
happened or whatever.
That's where we are. We want to know why. We Google everything why, you know why. And I think that goes into it too. We do want to know the why, but the why requires vulnerability. Yeah. And I do believe that you have the option, and you have the right to say, I don't want to expose myself in that way. But that's why I said I can be transparent with you. I could sit here, I could say, I lost my father when I was 19. He was a heroin addict. He was an alcoholic. He got in a car on his birthday, both drunk and high. He hit a tree. He had a stroke. He had a blood clot on half his brain. He was brain dead. He was in a coma for 12 days. Then he died. I have no problem being transparent with that. I have no problem saying my father was an addict my whole life. That's the lifestyle that we grew up in. I don't have to sit here and tell you how that made me feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that builds that emotional intimacy.
Yeah. Okay.
And you don't necessarily have to have that with everybody.
Right.
Everybody is not deserving of that. Because people will weaponize that. That's one of my new words I learned from one of my friends. Weaponize. I like that word. People will but people will weaponize that. Right. And they will try to use that against you. But for me, it's I don't know, just I'm so good on where I'm at that you can't use anything against me. Yeah. Anything that I tell you, anything that I freely tell you that has happened to me. Now, if you find out information about me unwarranted that didn't come from me, then you might be able to hold some stuff over my head because I might not have wanted you to know that. And that's why I share so much, because it's like, again, how much transparency is how much I'm willing to tell, how much I'm willing to give, how much information I'm willing to share about my life and, things of that nature. But I don't have to get into the whys and the feelings of things. The vulnerability is the feelings of things. That. I might, if this camera wasn't on, I might cry saying those things about my father. You know what I'm saying? That camera on, I ain't finna cry. I ain't finna do that, but
be a first again, to walk with Drew too, but
layers. Now you ain't finna get me to cry on this camera, big dog. Tell you that right now. Niggas didn't know me my whole life. It took a long time to get me to cry. We didn't do that. But yeah. I can be transparent all day long. I can be completely honest. And and transparency is giving information without asking.
Yeah.
And so I could be transparent all day long. I do not have to be vulnerable with you. Everybody does not deserve that. And vulnerability is a huge thing. It's a huge thing. I've probably been working on vulnerability for like 2 years, if not longer. I was one of those people like, new year, new goal. I'm really going to work on vulnerability. And I thought that like, oh yeah, by the end of the year. Being less vulnerable or being more vulnerable? More. Okay. Because I was stone cold.
Hard to go. Icebox where my heart used to be.
Or Mariami, please. Because that was me. That was me. I was stone cold. Right. But again, that goes back into like the whole being so authentic to yourself. Like, I don't have to be that way. Right. I don't have to, because I'm giving power to my situations. Yeah. My experiences. The things that have happened to me, I'm giving power to those. I got this quote. One of my favorite quotes is written on my mirror, in my bathroom. I'm not what has happened to me. I'm who I choose to become. And right. Excuse me, that has played a role into like me knowing being my authentic self. Like, I'm not going to let what has happened to me dictate who I am. I'm going to set this tone. Mm-hmm. But a part of me setting this tone is accepting those things that have happened to me. And I think that when you talk about being your authentic self, being authentic is for you. It ain't for nobody else.
She teaching.
That's for you.
God. Yeah.
It ain't for people. Other people can benefit from it.
Right. But it's for you.
But it's for you. Right. It requires, and like all those things that we just talk about, transparency, being vulnerable, speaking up, and things like that. Mm-hmm. It requires all of those things. Can you look at yourself as you are, right, and literally say that if I never change, I still love who I am?
That's a daily goal for me. Still learning to love myself.
Yeah. Right. That's one of the biggest pieces of being authentic is having to love yourself fully as you are. As you are. Mm-hmm. Because if you sit there and be like, oh, I only love myself under these conditions. Right. Excuse me. You starting off wrong. Right. It's already not going to work that way, because you can't just love yourself you can't love the image or the idea of who you think you should be.
Well, get me. Why you in my business?
Listen, don't do that. I'm a TikTok junkie. I'm a TikTok junkie. But you can't, it's nothing wrong with seeing your potential or having an idea or image of who you truly want to be. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep that. That's the goal that you work towards. That's the vision that you give yourself to work towards. Right. But don't forget to fall in love with who the fuck you are right now. Because that's important too. But in able to fall in love with who you are, you got to be able to admit that this is who I am. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got a terrible attitude sometimes. A lot of times.
So you just part of the transparency. Like, yeah, I got a
lot of time. Attitude be trash. Especially if you catch me in the morning.
Are you not a morning person?
No.
I forgot you. Yeah, you a night owl. You up to 6 a.m.
I can go to bed at 8 o'clock and wake up at 8 a.m., get 12 hours of sleep, and I'm still going to be like, don't talk to me. Like, I just do not like to be up in the morning. And then I'll go to work till 3, so I don't have to get up in the mornings. Yeah. But attitude just be nasty. Yeah. Nasty. And I think I said it earlier, like, my delivery. Mm-hmm. It's so many times I'll be like, hey, okay, you got to apologize. You got to apologize, because that was a trash way of saying that. Right. I can sit here and call out all of my flaws. Mm-hmm. I'm an overthinker. So
am I.
A man can love me with all his heart, and I'll be like,
I ran into them for what you about to do? Yeah, I don't like
it's
that.
like that little girl in that video. She was asking her, "You love me? You love me?
Yeah,
you love me? You love me?" That's me. That's me. And he keep on saying yes, yes, and gave me no reason to think he don't.
Yeah,
but do you love me?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? I could, but with all of that, I'm still very proud of who I am. I'm still very comfortable with who I am. And I like who I am. I like who I am. If I never change, I won't sit here and say like, oh, I'm okay with that.
Right.
But I would still consider myself a prize. The same way. If I never change, I would still consider myself a prize.
That takes growth though. And self like working on self, I take growth.
A lot. A whole lot. Because you gotta look at the ugly.
Right.
And nobody wants to see themselves stained.
Right.
Nobody wants to see that. No. I mean, we freak out if we see a woman with a blood spot on the back of her pants because her menstrual came on. Niggas gonna cringe at the thought of that. Like, but imagine yourself covered in that. Ooh.
Why are you trying to preach? I
ain't preaching.
Why you trying to get deep?
I ain't preaching. I'm just saying, imagine yourself, because that's how we see ourselves sometimes. You know, when you have to start looking at the bad, sometimes we can magnify those things to where we think that overpowers the good in us. But that's what self-love is about, is understanding that, yeah, you flawed, but there are so many more good things. And if the bad does outweigh the good, you got some work to do. That's all. Yeah. You got some work to do. Find some people that's...
perspective on it.
Yeah. Perspective is everything. Yeah. Change your mind, you change your life.
We're going to move on because you get...
I can't even take the credit for that quote. I want to so bad, but I can't even take the credit for that.
I know. Oh my gosh, this is good stuff. I hope y'all enjoying this so far. So within that,
better not be wasting my damn time.
You're like, y'all gonna get these gems. Y'all better take this,
and they better be writing them.
So part of what I wanted to talk about was the importance of being real and being authentic, and like the pros and cons behind it. And I have a couple. You had brought it up earlier, but part of it was it's exhausting not being your real self. Mm-hmm. It's exhausting not being your real self. And then I said another pro would be no fakeness. And then I said a con to being real, it limits who rocks with you, and then the opportunities you might get, but they weren't really meant for you anyway. They weren't meant for the real self. They were meant for your fake self. Mm-hmm. So I had put that. So if you, I was like, I was over there. I was like,
mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, it wasn't meant for your real self. It was meant for your fake self anyway. So in your mind, do you have any like pros or cons that you would want to add on to that about like the importance of like being real?
You know, when you had first sent me the questions, I had like some really good ones, and then I told you like I forgot. But pro, mm-hmm. freedom.
Yeah.
Like I cannot like freedom. I'll elaborate on that, but the con for me would be people, I don't want to say people trying to take that freedom, but so like I would say one of the biggest things that I've ran into, yes, but subconscious envy. Because a lot of times, I can't tell you how many friends, like legit friends I have mm-hmm. that have literally been subconsciously envious of me. They don't even know it. Don't ask me how I know. Yeah. They don't even know it. But I be knowing.
She probably is, but I'm
not. He's lying. He's lying. Take that out, Drew. Take that out. Don't tell these people that. I don't know what he talk about.
But yeah, you can see it.
You can see it. You can see it. And that will be a con because people hate you for being you, or people hate you because they want to be free so bad.
That's religion. That's the church. That's church folk.
But, they want to be free. They want that. They wish they could express that, and they just don't know how. Mm-hmm. They just don't know how. Or I think another con for me too is a lot of times I deal with you so extra. You so extra. And it would literally, oh, you be doing so much. Oh, girl, calm down. You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of that.
That's
or you know, she just so
right.
She's so, and then sometimes too, people turn it into a negative thing.
Right.
They sometimes people think I'm rude.
Yeah, you've seen those memes that's on Instagram, like you're like somebody's bossy, like they're a leader or something like that. Like it was like a whole sheet of like stuff girls here that are kind of like quote unquote hard to deal with or whatever.
Yeah.
That somebody was turning into a positive, like, oh, she's just a leader, or
right.
oh, she's
like
a boss.
Like if I speak up, I'm aggressive.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that. It's just like that. You know, some people say, oh, she's so rude, or you so, you know, you just be doing too much. That's the one. Excuse me. That's triggering. You be doing too much.
Does it sound like an ex or something?
You be doing too much because it's so common to hear. It's so normal to hear that. You be doing too much. You be doing too much.
I think we catch ourselves playfully saying that sometimes too, like not just subconsciously being envious or whatever. I think sometimes it's like playful or whatever, and we got to watch who we say that with, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't take offense.
Right.
Because again, I know who I am. I know I be doing too much. I don't care. You know, I don't care. I don't care. Shut up.
I don't care. I'm joking.
But when people say it in a certain type of way, it does sting a little, because it's like, what is who I am is too much? You know, is that a me problem or is that a you problem? And most of my friends know I love to say that. That ain't a Kristin problem. That's a them problem.
Yeah.
And you know, that's your problem. They ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
But you know, people can mistake your honesty, realness, for being rude, or people will literally think that you act a fool everywhere you go. I remember I had to go to this event or whatever, and I'm damn sure I ain't gonna get into the background of things or whatever, but long story short, I had to go to this event, and there was room for me to show my ass if need be. Or say like I had got in my feelings about some shit. And literally I had so many of the homies like, don't you go up in there showing your ass. Like literally thought that I would go up in this damn event and show my whole ass. And I literally was like, is that what people think of me?
Yeah.
Like, do people literally think that I just don't know how to act? Like I don't know how to control myself? Like, and it does sting a little bit sometimes, because it makes you think like, do I need to?
Hey, you getting it? Yeah, you getting into it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get it. So with that, because you getting into it. Hold on, we're gonna pause this. So with that. So do you ever feel? How do you prevent yourself from shrieking back into your old self when you feel it coming? Because like I said, like you just said, it was at that event. It stung a little bit. How do you prevent going back into that shell?
I think it's about positive self-talk. Like, that's my way of making sure that I do not shrink. It is positive self-talk. Because I know I can be obnoxious.
I haven't known you long enough to be able to say that.
That's the word. Yeah. I could be, a lot. And
I just think it's confidence. But
thank you.
I think it's confidence.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
like that.
I legit
that.
think it's like, I don't think it's like, I think like how you were saying, people put a negative spin on things or whatever, and we could say somebody's overconfident or whatever is like obnoxious or whatever. Just you just don't know how to manage, or you don't have the capacity to manage somebody's confidence. Like like if their confidence is this whole room and yours is this little couch, you could say, oh, they're being obnoxious or whatever. It's just like you're not used to somebody being overly confident. Now, I think there's such thing as somebody being rude But
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's somebody being rude and being disrespectful with that confidence. But yeah, I think it's confidence.
And people will. Like, I know my personality is big. My personality is a lot, and I make a lot of inappropriate jokes. You know what I'm saying?
She's so, that's why I said, we be at church. That's like, bro, you be real, bro.
It's funny that you say that, because that's a great, and this ain't no shade to nobody at church or nothing like that, but it's like times like that too, where, people might assume, oh, we just got out of church, you shouldn't be cursing in the parking lot. Baby, that's a building.
I was about to say that. Yeah, it's a structure.
That is a building.
Right, yeah.
Fuck that building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't care. If I cuss when I'm praying, fuck that building.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here saying that I'm just sitting around in everyday prayer cussing at God, but niggas get frustrated. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, yo, God, what the?
Hey, you get, because I think a part of what I think it was another question I had. Part of it was, I think people are afraid to be real to God, because they think God's not gonna bless them if you cussing your prayer, or you talking to God and you cussing, you saying nigga or whatever, and people think that, oh, God doesn't know the real you. I'm like, God doesn't, like, one thing Kanan said a while ago was like, God doesn't get intimidated by your emotions.
Yes.
That blessed me.
Yes.
And when you realize that,
gem.
yeah. Like, when you realize that, it's just like, yeah, bro, like, God's not intimidated. I'm like, God's not intimidated because he wants you. Because if I can't be real with him, then I don't want the relationship.
Right. And I mean, I've had someone tell me, well, that's disrespectful. Bitch, for you. Again, that's a you problem.
Right.
That ain't a me problem.
Right.
Don't set your boundaries on me.
Restrictions and stuff.
Your restrictions on me is a better word. Thank you. Don't put your restrictions on me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because the last time I checked, when I checked with God, he still loved me. And he still liked me.
Yeah.
And he's still patting me on the back.
Right.
And I ain't short of no blessings. Mm-hmm. So I don't think me saying shit when I was praying because I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think
Those
that put a strike by my name in the book. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And that's what people think. And I think, like, and going back to like the whole building comment with like church, I think we have a religious construct about how we view God, how we view church. So we look at that stuff as like unacceptable or like uncalled for. But I'm like, if more people start doing that, you start seeing more real Christians, because that's one of the things that bless me about you. I'm like, yeah, I love it.
It's the same way that I could be talking to some of my coworkers or whatever, and I might say, I could be telling them just a funny story or whatever, and I might be like, yeah, and I told Kanan I knock his damn head off, and they say, you cussed at your pastor. That's a man first.
Right.
I respect him.
Right.
In his position as my pastor.
Right.
Of course I respect that. Like, I'm following your leadership.
Right.
And I don't want to say I'm trusting you with my salvation, because my salvation is I got control over that.
Right, there you go.
But, I trust you as my leader to teach me and to guide me in the right direction. But you still a man.
Right.
You still a very real man, a very flawed man, as we all are. You ain't shy no cuss words either, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna get some of these cuss words too.
Yeah, fact.
So it's like that, and that's where I said, like, when I say things like that, people are so quick to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you. Oh my God, you can't. And you get the response, you see people's responses to things like that, and it makes you think like, damn.
Am I too free?
Ooh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it does make you want to shrink. It does make you want to come back. Or I had someone tell me, and this is one of my really good friends, and I know the intention behind it was not malicious or any type of ill intent at all. But we were talking in reference to a guy that I had interest in, and he ended up getting in a relationship. And this guy told me, well, I think he likes the fact that her personality is not as big as yours. And I was like, fuck you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not gonna lie and say that shit didn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Because it did. Because then it made me start thinking like,
do I need to
damn, is that why I'm single?
compromise some of myself?
Yeah, like, is it because my personality is too big? Is it because like a lot of niggas see me as the nigga? I think I posted that on Instagram one time. Like,
I think you did, yeah.
I can't get a man because I am the man.
Got another joke that's not Walk With You appropriate that would disprove that, but yeah.
I can't get a man because I am the man.
So
like, but it's so many, and I say that because I mean, naturally I attract male friends because they're always just like, bro, you just so cool. Like you a nigga. Like you a cool ass nigga. That's what most guys say about me,
right.
and so it's like, I need to be a little more dainty.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Do I need to put some sandals on? Yeah. Put a little sundress on, Do I need to learn how to put eyebrows on and stuff like that? Like, what is it? What do I need to be a little more girly? But
right.
And again, people say these things without with no type of ill intent behind these things. And actually, really just complimenting you. Right. But it does, I do have my moments where I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't be so. And then I had a person tell me too, about, I was talking about a guy that I had interest in, and she said, he's scared of you. She said, he's scared of you. She said, because you're just so raw. Like you just need to calm down. You just need to bring it down. You just so raw. That was what she always kept saying. You're so raw. And I just was like, so then literally I'm telling her, I'm like, no, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Trying to literally stand up for myself. I literally get on the phone with this man and I literally find myself consciously trying to be like, speaking a softer tone.
But I think that's everybody though.
I don't like that shit.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but I think that's everybody because we don't want to show everybody be vulnerable or be too transparent because it's just like, okay, we don't want to scare you off or whatever. It's like, bro, but it goes back to what I was saying, that part of the con, if he got with you because you started doing that, he got with the fake you. He didn't get with the real you. He didn't get with he got with the fake you the dainty or whatever, because that's what he got used to. So
I mean, but now, like, again, perspective. And so, excuse me, literally now when one of my friends, he always said, you so extra. And I'll be like, that's my specialty. Like, I got to throw a little razzle dazzle on there. I can't just give you a little nothing. I got to give you a little something. Yeah.
Positive self-talk.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. And that's what literally stops me from not shrinking, because I wasn't meant to have a small personality.
That's not what God gave you.
And I hate that he even used that phrase, because just because her personality is not similar to mine does not make her personality small. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make mine big.
Big, right. So where did we get the concept? Is that just like personal restraints we put on people? We call it small or big or whatever, when it really has no size. It's just like everybody's different. Is that where we need to, as a society, should we get back to doing that, or should we?
Yes. I mean, one of my friends, he will sit in a room and won't say nothing unless spoken to. Yeah. Won't say nothing unless spoken to. He's not going to be in the middle of the crowd. He ain't going to be. Yeah. He ain't doing all that. But when he speaks, you're going to hear him loud and clear. Yeah. Silence isn't small.
Silence is very big, right?
I want niggas to really catch. Silence is not small at all. And just because you loud don't mean you saying something. It doesn't make you big. You know what I'm saying? I can be loud, but I can be quiet. Yeah. You learn so much, especially in my relationship with God. How am I learning if I'm always talking? Silence is not small. And so I definitely think that we need to get away from that. She quiet. She got a small personality. She loud. She got a big personality. Because I can also walk in the room too, and if my spirit don't like what's in the room, I'm gonna be quiet too. Right. So yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah. I don't like that. I didn't like that at all. Yeah. But again, positive self-talk. Me having to remind myself that My husband loves me as I am, just as I am. I don't have to change a thing. I don't have to change a thing. I'm willing to change. Hello?
Already speaking, I like that.
I don't have to change a thing. I'm willing to change things to better myself.
But loving yourself to the point where you don't have to.
Nope.
That's where I got to get to.
Or even him knowing, even having a partner. I always say, damn, no names. Shit. I always say this man that I had interest in, I always would say if he never changed, I could love him for the rest of my life. If he never changed.
But I think that gives people freedom to want to, like, if I find a woman that tells me that, okay, I'm going to become my best version of myself because I know at any stage of my life, her love for me is not going to change. So that'll empower. I think that's an empowering, like, statement. If you say to somebody, like, yeah.
Yeah. But, and it's, like I said, feeling that way towards yourself and feeling that way towards your partner. It, like you said, it encourages them to be their authentic self, their true self. But same for me. Like I said in the beginning of the conversation, that if I never change, I'm still very proud of me.
Right.
And I'm still a prize. I would still consider myself a prize, just as I am. So it's positive self-talk is the way to go as far as making sure you don't shrink. Yeah. Because shrink for what? We ain't doing that. I work too hard to get to where I am to literally be sitting up here talking about I'm finna shrink because you can't, because you uncomfortable.
Right.
Your comfortability is not my responsibility. At all. Yeah. I'm not responsible for how comfortable you are.
So with that, and this is kind of my last question, the last thing I want to talk about is speaking up. We've been talking about it the whole conversation, but I kind of just want to like dial in on it a little bit for me, because like I was telling you last weekend, me speaking up was something that was not hard for me in terms of like transparency and vulnerability, but in confrontational situations or whatever. And I've learned that I need to speak up because what did my therapist say one time? I was telling her about a situation and she was like, you have no right to be mad at somebody for something that they don't know anything about. Right. And a lot of times we get mad. We get mad at people for thinking this way or saying this, and they haven't even said anything. We've just created in our minds because like we know what they're going to respond. We think we know what their response is going to be to whatever it is we're going to say. And we get mad at them, or we start holding grudges or whatever in our mind and without saying anything. And she was like, yeah, you can't be mad that they're not saying this or saying that when you haven't given them an opportunity to know how you feel. And I've come in contact as like recently, like within the last month or so, with somebody that had an issue with me, and I'm not gonna get into the whole conversation, that whole thing. I'll tell you off camera. Had an issue with me and could not vocalize that because she's not used to showing emotion. She doesn't want to show emotion. She doesn't want to do that. So she didn't vocalize it, and had it played it off. I'm thinking nothing is wrong. And after the fact, when I was getting closure from that situation, she was like, and I deserve an apology. I'm like, you didn't deserve an apology because you didn't tell me that you know what I'm saying, that you felt some type of way. But legit, like she didn't speak up in that situation and ruined our friendship because she didn't speak up and she went home. And she ruined it. Flew back home, and she ruined it off of not speaking up. And just like, I wanted to ask you, like, how important, or if you could just put some words together about how important it is to speak up in all situations. Or if you got some feedback about what I just said, because I feel like I said a lot. You like, I'm downloading, and I want to say something about what you just said. Go ahead.
No, because I'm literally what crossed my mind was like, there's so many angles to that. Mm-hmm. There were so many angles to that because I literally see both sides. Mm-hmm. Like I literally see both sides. I see the side of, you saying like you didn't speak up. Did she eventually tell you what was wrong?
Took her 2 weeks because she was in town to visit me or whatever, and how she told me on the back end, she was like she didn't want to process it here or like go through that here because she was on vacation or just whatever out here away from home and wanted to continue to use this as a time to escape or whatever instead of saying it. But I'm like, I was on the phone with my homeboy. I'm like, okay, I'm about to pull up to our hotel like right now, like and he was like, nah, bro, you shouldn't do that or whatever. But it's like because I'm getting used. I've been going to therapy. I've been used to speaking up and saying how I feel and having conversational situations. If we gotta have it, let's have it. I'm gonna pull up. I told him, I'm like, if you had to curse me out in the parking lot for 10 minutes after the situation happened, I would have liked you to do that instead of flying back home and not saying anything to me for 2 weeks and then saying the situation. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying too. I think on the flip side of that, this is just me playing devil's advocate, seeing both perspectives of it too. Is you gotta allow room for people to speak when they're ready to speak. Just
but
like
in a disrespectful manner, though.
Well, I won't say that because again, delivery.
Yeah.
Delivery. If she ain't talked to you for 2 weeks, then she had 2 weeks to calm my ass down. So I won't say that, to do it in a disrespectful manner or anything like that. Like I said, it's so many angles to what happened.
I'll tell you
what could have happened. Yeah. It's like one of my old bosses used to always say, what went right? What went wrong? What could we have done better?
That's everybody. That's especially in retail.
But that's so useful in just like everyday life shit too, because in any type of confrontation, conversation, whatever, what went right, what went wrong, and what could I have done? What could I, accountability, have done better? Because I personally know that when I say if something happened. When I say leave me alone, I don't want to talk. Leave me the hell alone because I don't want to talk. Because I don't know how right now. I can't. And everything I got to say ain't going to be nothing good. It's going to all be bad.
Right.
Because, bitch be trying to work on her delivery and shit. But.
DiGiorno. I'm joking.
Right. So, I get it. I get it from both angles, but like you said, as far as like the importance of speaking up. Who again? Like I just you are setting the tone for you.
Yeah.
You are literally establishing your boundaries when you speak up. Whether it's you speaking up to say in a relationship, if your partner did something wrong, and you establishing that communication to say, hey, I do not like this. I do not want to be treated like this. Boundary. Or even if they did something right. I like that. I enjoy that. I accept more of that. You know what I'm saying? That makes me feel loved.
Right.
It's literally, like, again, I keep saying it, but it's literally you setting the tone for how people operate and maneuver with you. That's the importance of it to me. Closed mouth don't get fed. One of the oldest sayings, a closed mouth.
And that's why I adopted that whole thing, because I'm like, I'm not going to get what I want if I don't speak up. Or not want, like, out of you, but like out of, I got something on my heart. And I need to get it out, and I want us to get to this place. So we're not going to get to this place if I don't open my mouth and say something, because it's just going to stay right there.
But again, being authentic, speaking up, that's for you.
It's not for, right.
It's not for anybody. People benefit from it.
People benefit from it. Right.
They benefit from you speaking up. But it's 100% for you.
Right.
And that's what I think the importance of it is, it all points back to you. It puts it all back on you. It teaches you how to love yourself, how to be comfortable with yourself, how to be transparent with yourself, how to be vulnerable with yourself.
Right.
Niggas will be extremely surprised to learn that, it's harder to be vulnerable with yourself more than it is to be with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy to tell everybody the truth.
Because
be vulnerable. Yeah.
A lot of times with vulnerability too, when we're vulnerable with other people, we're already expecting that pity party.
Or not even pity party. I just want some reciprocity, my nigga. That's what I just want some reciprocity. Be vulnerable back. It's so hard when you try to be vulnerable with Johns and they don't be vulnerable back. But it's for
you.
Right.
You can't go into it with the expectation that you're going to gain something from someone else because of your vulnerability. You gain something for yourself. It's for you. And that's why I say it all points back to you.
Right.
When you're vulnerable with yourself, you break your own chains. Let that person be vulnerable when they're comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not something that's just going to come easy. It's hard because, again, people will weaponize that, and then, people, you got so many things telling you who you're supposed to be, especially at church. Y'all church people be the worst ones. The worst one, especially at church, you have so many things and people telling you who you should be, what you should be doing, how you should be conducting yourself, how you should speak. How you should speak. I had a man tell me one time, you cuss too much.
So
I was about to stick my middle finger up, but I didn't think I should do that. Because that's what I was basically telling him, like, boy, fill in the blanks. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard being vulnerable. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to speak up. It's hard because we're naturally people pleasers. I think humans in general, we're naturally people pleasers. And, when you aim to please everyone else, you forget about yourself. And you will shrink yourself into this little box, and you do yourself a disservice. You do yourself a huge disservice by not speaking up
or not being real. Period. Yeah.
You do yourself a huge disservice. Your voice is important. It's empowering. It's what you're speaking is. You do yourself a huge disservice by not speaking up and by not being real. And again, as we've unpacked, you love
that word now.
I told you that lady got me saying that word. I've been saying it for years. As we've unpacked this whole conversation is, it's so many levels and layers to the whole being authentic and being real, and it does not come easy. And I can't sit here and say, I got it all figured out or I got it all together or anything like that, because I still have some moments where it's hard for me to communicate certain things to certain friends because, I just kind of knowing too that they just not going to get it because people are people. Yeah. Greatest lesson I learned in life. People are people. And people gon' people.
People gonna mess up.
People gon' people. Just like I say, niggas gon' nigga. Alright, you know what I'm saying? Niggas gon' nigga. And
it be your niggas. That's what you be saying.
Your niggas ain't your niggas.
That's what it is.
Niggas ain't your niggas.
That's what it is.
Isaiah gonna try to say that was his, but he lying. But people are people.
Right.
And you have to leave room for people to be just that. People.
Speaking of
but it's the most important part of speaking up is just understanding that it's for you. It's your freedom. It's your freedom. It's your power. It's your voice.
Right.
It's all for you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest point or message in this whole thing. It's that it's for you. It's for you. Whether it's speaking up to say, hey, I'm not okay.
Right.
And what you're doing, it's not making me okay. This environment that I'm in, it's not making me okay. You can be mad at me for choosing to remove myself from this environment, but it's not making me okay. It's not helping me. Your power is in your voice.
And it's for you. And that's the thing, the biggest thing I think I've taken away from this is that you were saying, it's like, because sometimes you can catch yourself like doing other things like, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable so I can get something out of her or whatever. Or just not even something out of her, just for her to be vulnerable back. And when you said it was just like, no, it's for you. I was like, damn. Because I've been guilty of like, okay, I want to have a vulnerable conversation. So 1 + 1 = 2. I'm going to be vulnerable so you can be vulnerable too. And then I get mad when you don't be vulnerable. And I be like, damn, because I was expecting, okay, I'm
because
vulnerable.
Sometimes 1 + 1 = 7. Sometimes it just does. You know, when we put it on paper, it'll never make sense. Mm-hmm. But if we put a lot of stuff that God do on paper,
it don't make sense either.
It never makes sense either.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not always one. And then you have to think about too. And again, like I haven't said this word, but another part of like speaking up and being real is being self-aware. Yeah. Being self-aware, that has been a huge accomplishment of mine. Like I ain't even about to sit here and shit on myself and be like, oh, this a go. Nah, nigga, I didn't accomplish being self-aware of even knowing down to like, yo, my hands hot. I'm getting mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm so self-aware of what I need. Yeah. What I don't need. I think that's about time by yourself too. Yeah. But being self-aware enough to say like, why am I looking for her to be vulnerable as well? Mm-hmm. Why am I looking for that? Why do I just not? And I say that. I say no names, okay? I say that. I say that because I found myself in a position where I'm completely vulnerable with this man, and he ain't giving me shit. He ain't giving me nothing. I'm sitting here like.
So you got yourself in the same predicament too.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, well, why do I want to tell him so much?
Because you want something out of him.
Why do I? I needed to get it out of me. I was just like, I needed to get out of me, and he was the person I felt the most comfortable with. Some way, somehow, he created a safe space for me. Right. And so, therefore, I was able to get it out. But once I got that mindset of, I'm being vulnerable and he ain't, guess what happened? Then he being vulnerable. Oh, okay. Now he opening up. Now he telling me stuff. It just kind of, it went, you know, and I think you said something earlier about community and how, you know, you want community. A part of community is connection. Yeah. But connections are organic. Yeah. They're so organic.
And they have to be built by the other person because it's like, it's two people. It takes a
relationship. Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes effort. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and like I think, too, it's important to say that, you know, there's a difference in, you know, when you're talking about being authentic and being real and, you know, just dealing with certain people and then also to be dealing with like a romantic partnership with someone. Right. You know, I want to say it's a difference, but things do look a little bit differently or whatever. So, but yeah, with community and having community, you know, it requires connection. But I 100% believe that connections are organic. Yeah. And they cannot be forced. Right. And when you do force them, you'll later see why it was forced. Because my spirit was never meant to connect with yours. Ever.
Now we're going to end on that note. We're going to end on that note.
Because I get to going.
We've been speaking for a good minute. I hope y'all enjoyed this talk. I want to thank you, bro. Thank you for coming down here.
This man had me drive 2 hours.
It ain't no 2 hours. She live in Egypt. I live in Saudi Arabia. Like I always say, y'all live in Egypt. I live in Saudi Arabia. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it just for coming down and unpacking these things. But I learned something, and I think that everybody else is going to learn something too. So if you wanted to, I tell people your Instagram if you want them to follow. If not, you don't got to. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all asses ain't following me. You don't need to be in my business. No. What's my Instagram name? Nobody say it right. It's KL _Mo, but it's KAYEL _MO. Okay. My page private though, so I might not accept some of y'all.
Never mind. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get a love connection on this joint. She's trying to get a love connection.
Y'all drive 2 hours out here for nothing.
And I'm gonna need a book out of you too. So
wait a minute.
I'm gonna need a book out of you too.
Wait a minute.
I need a book on. I need a book on authenticity
I'm
and realness.
telling your other friend, don't be putting stuff out in the world for me. Don't be putting stuff out in the world for me. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'll tell you about that later, but
I'm gonna need a book on authenticity or something, a video or something. Can I get a video at least by the end of the year next year?
This our video. This your video.
I mean IGTV. Nah, but I appreciate you coming out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to like, subscribe, like, share this joint, please, because I think this is gonna bless a lot of people. Yeah. Until next time. My name is Drew. This was Kristin. Walk with Drew. Peace.